Chapter 31 Jade Anus Vomits Blood. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Figures, the mud can't hold up the wall. He's just a worthless copycat who couldn't recognize a mutated blue lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex spirit if it bit him on the butt. Qianxunji sneered at Yu Xiaoan, hatching a plan. He wouldn't kill Yu Xiaoan, Bibi Dong wasn't worth it, but he would destroy him completely, turning him into a sewer rat, a pathetic joke. Maybe this would finally make Bibi Dong see reason, a family plan, after all. Hey, Erlong, he called out, which blue lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex is your daddy? Lu Erlong struggled to her feet, spitting blood. What's it to you? Let Xiaoan go. You're abusing him, you're not fit to be pope, and the spirit hall's a joke if you're in charge. Lu Erlong hated the spirit hall. Her own father, Yu Luo Mian, was a big shot in the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. Blood was thicker than water, no matter what she said. Plus, Yu Xiaoan had told her all about his awful experiences there. Put those two things together, and you got one seriously ticked-off woman, Qianxunji chuckled. You really want to know who Yu Xiaoan's father is in the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan? Funny thing is, you're practically related. Lu Erlong scoffed, impossible. Xiaoan's spirit is Luo Sanpao, a pig. Not a blue lightning tyrannosaurus at all. Let Yu Xiaoan tell you himself. Qianxunji released Yu Xiaoan, hands clasped behind his back, already picturing the fallout. Yu Xiaoan, free from Qianxunji's grip, coughed, gasped for air, and looked at Lu Erlong, unsure whether to speak. He was the biggest loser in the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan's history. He hoped they were just distant cousins, so their relationship might survive after Lu Erlong learned his identity. Lu Erlong saw the truth in Yu Xiaoan's face, Qianxunji wasn't lying. Grabbing Yu Xiaoan's shoulders, she said, Xiaoan, my father's Yu Luo Mian. Who's your father? Don't worry, I won't care who he is. I'm in love with you. Flanders felt a pang of disappointment mixed with blessings. Yu Xiaoan just stood there, stunned, like he'd been hit with a critical blow. He was shaking, unable to process the truth. Even Qianxunji was taken aback. He'd thought they were just cousins. His taunt about Yu Xiaoan being a worthless plagiarist who couldn't recognize his own spirit had backfired spectacularly. The Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex clan had hundreds of direct descendants. What were the odds they would hook up? Lu Erlong shook Yu Xiaoan urgently. Xiaoan, tell me. It's okay, I won't judge you. Qianxunji said calmly, let me spell it out for you. Yu Xiaoan is the son of Yu Yuanjin, the young master of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. Your cousin. No, that's impossible. Xiaoan, tell me he's lying. This crazy pope's talking garbage. Tears streamed down Lu Erlong's face. Cousins? Lovers? That was taboo, a disgrace to the family, maybe even the whole continent. Yu Xiaoan wanted to disappear. He needed to get away, run from this nightmare, to a place where Lu Erlong could never find him. As he scrambled up, he didn't even grab his notebooks. He ran as fast as he could, but a force yanked him back, turning him into a little chicken in Qianxunji's hand. Qianxunji, let me go. If you've got any guts, kill me. What's the point of humiliating me? Yu Xiaoan screamed, desperate. He chose dignity over life, even though death was coming anyway. Humiliation. You think you're worth my time? I told you why I was here, about the secret of the angel spirit's innate soul power, and you blabbed to the sect. Outrageous. Qianxunji's voice was ice. The murderous intent made the golden triangle shudder. Yu Xiaoan spat, I only told them what I promised to tell. The rest, I swear on my life, I didn't say a word. Qianxunji sneered, I don't trust a selfish thief like you. I've said my piece. Believe what you want. Yu Xiaoan's eyes blazed. He wished he had the power, the raw strength, to crush the spirit hall and grind Qianxunji under his heel. Qianxunji said coldly, swear it. Swear on your spirit. Kneel and swear, or I'll expose the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan's theft of Spirit Hall secrets and wipe them off the face of the earth. Yu Longchen's blood will dry up. The old dragon is past it. He can't stop me. Xiaoan, don't do it. Young master, you can't kneel. Flanders and Lu Erlong roared, bang. Bang, Qianxunji backhanded them aside. Don't think I'm such a nice guy. I'll kneel. I'll swear. Yu Xiaoan forced the words out. He could die, but not the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. His family might tease him, but his father and second uncle had always supported him, and they never mocked him for his shortcomings. Right here. Let's get on with it. Qianxunji's voice was emotionless. Yu Xiaoan felt the weight of their stares, especially Lu Erlong's. Thinking of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan, he knelt, raised his hand, and said, I, Yu Xiaoan, swear to heaven, I will never reveal any confidential information about the Spirit Hall. If I do, may my soul be shattered and I be damned for eternity. That the words left him drained, and he slumped to the ground. Remember your oath. Qianxunji gave him a final look of contempt and left. Xiaoan. Xiaoan, are you okay? How are you? Flanders and Lu Erlong rushed to his side. Yu Xiaoan didn't hear them. He was trapped, reliving the shame of kneeling before Qianxunji. His eyes turned bloodshot. With his last ounce of strength, he screamed, I, Yu Xiaoan, swear vengeance on the Spirit Hall. I will destroy it in this lifetime. Then, he coughed up a mouthful of blood and passed out. Chapter 32 Distribution of Immortal Grass. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Qianxunji threatened Yu Xiaoan, the group of 5 returned after several days of travel. The Spirit Hall was buzzing with excitement. Their 2 young masters had performed exceptionally well in the youth competition. The eldest, in particular, had defeated members of both the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan and the Clear Sky clan, surpassing them by 1 soul ring each time. This significantly boosted the Spirit Hall's prestige. Meanwhile, after Qianxunji's departure, Yu Xiaoan escaped, mirroring the original story. He attempted suicide by jumping off a cliff but was rescued by Flanders and, like before, sought refuge in Nodding City and Nodding Academy. In the Hall of the Gods, DouluoDalu stood before the angel statue, praying for the emergence of the angel throne successor. Father, Qianxunji announced, striding in. You did well on this training trip. What about Xiaohan? Did you convince him to return? DouluoDalu turned and clapped Qianxunji on the shoulder, surprised. You've made a breakthrough. And a solid one at that. Yes, father. It'll take some time for another breakthrough, but my encounter with Xiaohan led me to legendary fairy herbs. Taking them allowed me to advance. Qianxunji activated his soul tool, and the Qianquan bag Renhan had given him appeared, glowing with the diverse lights of the various fairy herbs. Fairy herbs. DouluoDalu was taken aback, then asked, what's Xiaohan really like? Qianxunji hesitated before relating the events in Soto City and Qianrenhan's views regarding the people oppressed by the Baroque royal family. So, a fallen angel after all? He thinks so differently, DouluoDalu sighed. Regardless, as long as he doesn't become an evil spirit master, we won't interfere. I understand, father. Qianxunji agreed, having already let go of Qianrenhan. Distribute these herbs. I've reached the limit of my cultivation, they're useless to me. DouluoDalu waved his hand, tossed his token to Qianxunji, and turned back to face the angel statue. Even the Pope couldn't summon Spirit Douluo without DouluoDalu's token. Whether it was Qianxunji's or Bibi Dong's era, DouluoDalu remained the true power behind the Spirit Hall. Even in retirement, Qianxunji summoned the 9 elders and 6 grand priests of the Elder Hall and Spirit Hall. He bluntly stated that, including DouluoDalu, they had 16 titled Douluo. No other force on the entire continent could withstand such power. Even if Tang Chen were still with the Clear Sky clan, the Spirit Hall could destroy them. No matter how good Tang Chen was, he wasn't better than DouluoDalu. While DouluoDalu might lose in a one-on-one fight, the others could just launch their ninth soul skill from a distance. Soon after, Bibi Dong arrived, also summoned by Qianxunji. Seeing so many titled Douluo hidden in the spirit hall, she was shocked. The spirit hall's foundation was terrifying. The saintess's status was only comparable to a titled Douluo elder, and she couldn't enter the elder hall freely. Therefore, Bibi Dong barely knew any of the titled Douluo elders, save for Guangling and DouluoDalu. Qianxunji cleared his throat. Now that all the elders and priests are here, let's begin. Pope, why did you summon us? The second grand priest, Golden Crocodile Douluo, the oldest, strongest, and highest ranking of the titled Douluo, inquired. Qianxunji replied, Second priest, I took 2 children on a training trip. Xiaohan stumbled upon a treasure trove and brought back a large amount of fairy herbs. Fairy herbs? Douluo trembled. Your Holiness, are you serious? Qianxunji nodded slightly. Yes. I used a fairy herb and broke through to level 95. Agouti and Elder Snake Spear also improved after taking them. Everyone looked at Snake Spear and Agony Douluo, who tried to remain calm. Snake Spear Douluo had improved in just a few days. Agony Douluo had even advanced 2 levels. Immortal grass really was as terrifying as the legend said. Elder Ju, you know fairy herbs best. It's up to you to distribute them to the elders and priests. Qianxunji produced the Qianquan bag, and fairy herbs and high-level herbs spilled out. Ju Douluo's eyes almost popped. His face was filled with obsession as he reached out to grab a handful of the herbs. Juwagwan, snap out of it, his friend, Ghost Douluo, quickly slapped Ju Douluo to wake him up. Showing such behavior in public with so many important figures present. Did he want to stay in the spirit hall? Ju Douluo looked around, then cleared his throat. Before I distribute these herbs, I must explain something. Fairy grass is incredibly rare. It requires special harvesting and preservation methods, and specific consumption methods, or its power will be lost. Some herbs are also extreme attribute herbs. For example, this extreme fire herb, the fiery apricot jiaoshu, must be taken with the extreme ice octagonal ice leaf. Otherwise, taking one alone would leave even me with nothing but ashes. Hearing Ju Douluo's clear warning, everyone nodded solemnly. Ju Douluo continued, of course, some herbs are milder and strengthen the body. However, these have little effect on our current cultivation. The most useful ones match our martial spirits, these may even evolve them. Everyone grew excited at the word evolve. Martial soul evolution meant a greater chance of a breakthrough, a huge help for those stuck in a bottleneck. One elder couldn't contain himself. Elder Ju, stop talking and distribute the fairy grass. All right. Second priest, your martial spirit is the Golden Crocodile King. This Golden Crocodile Dragon fruit is a perfect match. Perhaps it will help you take that final step. Ju Douluo pulled a golden fruit from the pile of fairy grass. Chapter 33 Bibi Dong's hatred deepens again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Golden Crocodile Douluo clutched the Golden Crocodile Dragon fruit. The martial soul within him resonated with a powerful, almost familial energy, as if they shared the same origin. He felt instinctively that consuming the fruit would elevate him to the pinnacle of power, yet, he hesitated, thinking of his family. He carefully preserved the fruit, resisting the urge to take it. Ju Douluo was quick to warn, Second Elder, the longer this fairy grass is exposed to the air without protection, the more potent its medicinal properties will degrade. You should consume it immediately. Golden Crocodile Douluo responded calmly, that won't be necessary. I'll save this fairy grass for my descendants. Qianxunji understood his reasoning. The Golden Crocodile King martial soul was passed down through a single lineage. Over generations, the martial souls of Golden Crocodile Douluo's descendants had weakened, with the mighty king regressing to a mere golden crocodile. No matter how hard they tried to breed, none of their offspring inherited the king's martial soul. Golden Crocodile hoped this fairy grass would restore the martial soul of future generations to its former glory. Qianxunji declared, second elder has dedicated his life to the spirit hall. His efforts have been invaluable. As a reward for his hard work, he will receive an additional fairy grass. The other elders and worshippers nodded in agreement. While Golden Crocodile was second in command within the worship hall, and addressed DouluoDalu as elder brother, he had practically raised DouluoDalu. In terms of age, many of them were not even half as old as Golden Crocodile Douluo. Golden Crocodile was touched by this display of respect. He knew his dedication to the spirit hall hadn't been in vain, this was truly his home. Douluo paused, then conjured a golden melon the size of a fist, radiating a rich and inviting aroma. Second elder, this is the Earth Dragon Golden Melon. It contains a trace of Earth Dragon blood. While not as potent as the Golden Crocodile Dragon fruit, it's still an excellent choice for enhancing the Golden Crocodile King martial soul. Aside from the Golden Crocodile Dragon fruit, the wonderful Velvet Babel Chrysanthemum would be the perfect match for the Golden Crocodile King, to cultivate the indestructible body. But, of course, if Douluo wanted this immortal grass chrysanthemum, it was a 100% match for the immortal grass. No one wanted to give it up. After receiving the Earth Dragon Golden Melon, Golden Crocodile Douluo asked, Pope, who did you say brought these fairy grasses back for us old-timers? Qianxunji replied, Xiaohan did. Young master. A wave of shame washed over Golden Crocodile. He, who believed in the angel god, had distanced himself from Qianrenhan ever since the young man had awakened the fallen angel spirit, so opposed to the angel bloodline. He hadn't even sought him out once in recent days. And yet, Qianrenhan had selflessly entrusted the fairy grass to Qianxunji, who distributed it to them all. Golden Crocodile asked, where is young master now? I need to thank him properly. Xiaohan has moved to Sword Peak. Qianxunji explained that as soon as Qianrenhan returned to the Spirit Hall, he had a residence built on Sword Peak and moved in immediately. He even had his meals delivered there. It was as if he was detaching himself from the angel clan. Golden Crocodile Douluo nodded slightly and stepped back. The distribution of fairy grass continued, each offering receiving their share. The strange velvet Babel chrysanthemum perfectly complements my martial soul. I, Yu Guan, will shamelessly claim it for myself. Ignoring the envious glances of the other elders, Douluo placed the strange velvet Babel chrysanthemum into his soul tool, then resumed the distribution of the remaining fairy herbs. Among the elders, Bibi Dong, a saint whose status was on par with theirs, was naturally ranked last due to her weaker contra-cultivation level. Bibi Dong glanced at Qianxunji, but seeing his silence, resentment simmered within her. She waited patiently. When it was Ghost Douluo's turn, Douluo searched through the remaining herbs but couldn't find a single one with cold or evil attributes. Disappointed, he said, Old Ghost, I'm sorry. There aren't any fairy herbs here that match your specific needs. But do you want a fairy grass that can strengthen your roots and vitality? No need. I've already received plenty of herbs from you that do that. Since you don't have what I need, I'll pass. Ghost Douluo waved his hand dismissively, but secretly, he was overjoyed. Earlier, Abak Douluo had told him that the young master had prepared a fairy grass with evil attributes specifically for him, and he would receive it later. Ghost Douluo was deeply moved. If Qianrenhan were to become pope in the future, he would strongly advocate for the great enshrinement to become Qianrenhan's right-hand man, his guardian Douluo. After all, the fallen angel's martial soul had ghostly attributes, the absolute superior of his own martial soul. By Qianrenhan's side, he might still have a chance to break through to the next level. Hearing this, Bibi Dong felt a surge of excitement. The death attributes of her Death Spider Emperor and Soul-Eating Spider Emperor were similar to the Ghost Martial Soul's attributes. She spoke, Elder Ju, do you have any herbs that match my martial soul's attributes? Douluo appeared startled and replied, Your Highness, Saint, there aren't any fairy herbs here that perfectly align with your martial soul. However, I can recommend the 8-petal fairy orchid. Its medicinal properties are gentle and mellow, strengthening the foundation, refining the essence, and removing impurities. This fairy grass might not be as powerful as the ones the elders received, but for you, your highness the saint, who is still at the Contra realm, it should boost your soul power by a point or two. Bibi Dong understood. This fairy grass primarily enhanced soul power within one's existing potential. It didn't improve talent. It was best for soul masters that were already close to reaching the end of their cultivation journey, since there would be no real change in essence after taking it. That will do. Bibi Dong was confident in her innate talent. After all, she had already passed the divine test. As long as she killed Qianxunji and began the process, she would reach that step eventually. In that case, it did not matter if her martial soul strength was increased gradually. Just then, Qianxunji said, "Elder Ju, please excuse us." "Yes, Pope." Douluo knew of the relationship between Qianxunji and Bibi Dong and left without further question. As the door closed, Qianxunji's expression softened and he said gently, "Donger." Bibi Dong quickly took a step back, her face showing disgust. "Qianxunji, don't speak to me like that." Qianxunji sighed, "Donger, can't you see? Yu Xiaoan is a useless leech who only knows how to steal." At this, Bibi Dong flew into a rage. "Shut your mouth. You're not allowed to insult Xiaoan. So what if you're stronger than him? In my eyes, Xiaoan's talent is 11,000 times greater than yours. If Xiaoan possessed your martial soul, he would be the most perfect person in the world." Qianxunji felt helpless. He recounted his meeting with the golden iron triangle, carefully omitting the part where he had pinched Yu Xiaoan's neck and forced him to swear an oath on his knees. He feared that Bibi Dong would attack him if she learned the truth. Chapter 34 I'm not interested in women. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qianxunji said earnestly, "Donger, Yu Xiaoan is a total loser. He can't even identify the blue electric Tyrannosaurus Rex spirit with mutated attributes. What do you think he's good for? What talent does he even have?" Bibi Dong wasn't really listening to Qianxunji's sincere words. She was lost in her own little world, giddy with happiness. That woman is Xiaoan's cousin. She can't be with Xiaoan, she can't be with Xiaoan. If Xiaoan's single, I still have a shot. Suppressing her elation, Bibi Dong replied calmly, "I'll give what you said some thought, teacher." Hearing this, Qianxunji finally relaxed. Good. Here, take this 8-petal fairy orchid and cultivate it. Strive to reach the titled Douluo realm as soon as possible. I'm sure news of that 100,000-year soul beast will surface soon. Understood, teacher. Bibi Dong took the 8-petal fairy orchid, left the elders' hall, and returned to her residence. Once she was sure she was alone, her calm eyes flashed with murderous intent. "Qianxunji, for trying to keep Xiaoan and that Lu Erlong woman apart so you can have him all to yourself, I'll make you pay 1,000 times over." But with that, Bibi Dong gulped down the 8-petal fairy orchid and began to refine it. She had to get stronger, and fast, to get revenge on Qianxunji. Time flew by. 3 years later, Qianrenhan was over 9 years old. Not long ago, the Spirit Hall investigators had discovered traces of a 100,000-year soul beast. Qianxunji, along with his 2 guardian Douluos and a bunch of lackeys from the Pope's palace, had gone out to capture it. On Sword Peak, Qianrenhan, dressed in black, cut an imposing figure. His skin was pale, his long, unkempt hair flowed down his back, and his face was so handsome it was hard to tell if he was male or female without the clothes. 5 soul rings, purple, black, swirled around his feet. He gripped a meter-long sword, completely black. Dark spirit energy crackled along the blade. This sword was the result of Qianrenhan's 5th soul skill, the Dark Holy Sword, a weapon-type skill empowered by a 50,000-year spirit ring. If a soul king of the same level as him so much as got a scratch from this sword, it would devour at least 20% of their spirit power. Plus, he could change its size at will, depending on how much spirit power he poured into it. It was basically another powerful soul skill unto itself. Qianrenhan stood firm, facing trees as wide as an adult could hug. He didn't swing, but invisible dark spirit energy flowed from his hand. A branch as thick as a person's waist crashed to the ground, then, Qianrenhan reached out, and the dark spirit energy surged in his palm. His 2 fingers became like swords, dancing against the trunk, as if he were writing. Every touch left a deep mark, still pulsing with black spirit energy. As the marks multiplied, the tree began to wither at a frightening rate, its lush green leaves turning yellow before your eyes. This was the effect of extreme dark spirit energy. Extreme darkness can devour not only spirit power but also life itself. Fallen angels, the originators of evil spirit masters, possess spirit power that can drain life. Not bad, Xiaohun. Your swordsmanship has reached the 2nd level, sword energy. The sword lives in your heart, even when it's not in your hand. You can kill a man 100 paces away with just your bare hands. A voice came from nearby. Golden light streamed from the man's hand, and the dying tree sprang back to life, budding with new growth. Qianrenhan glanced at the blonde, middle-aged man, surprised. Old man, why aren't you hanging around under the angel statue? What do you want? DouluoDalu didn't answer. He tossed a wooden sword. Let the sword speak. Qianrenhan caught the wooden sword. Come on, then. They took a step forward, closing the distance to barely 1.5 meters. Close enough for a sword to reach any part of the other's body. Their eyes sharpened, and they attacked simultaneously, as if they were of one mind. In a single second, they swung their arms no less than 10 times, the sound of clashing swords ringing out. Old man, what's up? Why are you really here? Qianrenhan asked, parrying Qiandaolu's attacks. This was a training technique he'd developed specifically to practice multitasking. He could carry on a conversation while fighting without affecting his combat effectiveness. It also cut down on the amount of time he had to spend with Qiandaolu, who, let's face it, could be a handful. Qiandaolu said, Qianxunji has already left to capture the 100,000-year soul beast. Yeah, I can see that just fine. You didn't come all this way just to tell me that. Qianrenhan's swordplay was flawless, and he even managed to find an opening to attack Qiandaolu. It's time for you to find a match. Qianrenhan stopped swinging his sword. He was so stunned he actually dropped it. He raised an eyebrow. I'm sorry, come again, Qiandaolu continued, I've done some research, and it seems male disciples from noble families usually lose their virginity around this age. Your cultivation is much higher than theirs, and you're developing faster. People on Douluo were too precocious. Commoners married and had kids at 12. Spirit masters developed even faster because they had that spirit power ripening agent. They were playing with women at 9. Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjun had nothing on him. With Qiandaolu's personality, there was no way he'd let Qianrenhan go out womanizing. Naturally, he wanted him to get engaged early and develop a relationship with his future partner. It would keep Qianrenhan from being so isolated. As Qianrenhan and Qianrenxue got stronger, the angels' rejection would get worse. Plus, as they got older, Qianrenxue wouldn't be clinging to Qianrenhan every day. And he had to train Qianrenxue, so sometimes the 2 siblings wouldn't even see each other for a week. For a week, he was basically alone on a mountain. As a 9-year-old, Qiandaolu was genuinely concerned about changes in Qianrenhan's character. The most terrifying thing in the world wasn't having no money or failing to break through in cultivation, it was being alone without end. No thanks, old man. I'm not interested in beauty. Qianrenhan bent to pick up the wooden sword and said calmly, women would just hold me back. Instead of finding me a fiancé, why don't you find me an opponent worthy of my time? Though I doubt such a person even exists on this continent. Chapter 35 Liena. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If I can't reach that legendary level, I'll take your advice and find someone to carry on the family line, Qianrenhan said, resuming his sparring match with Qiandaolu. Qiandaolu started to say something, then stopped. Truth be told, he wasn't thrilled with the idea of Qianrenhan having kids. Finding a girl with a martial spirit strong enough to rival the fallen angels was a tall order, and he didn't want someone inferior. Meanwhile, over at the Spirit Hall, in one of the awakening halls. Sky Fox. A top-tier martial soul. An almost level 10 innate soul power. According to my experience, it's gotta be around level 9.7. The awakening master exclaimed in surprise. Girl, what's your name? That he had to register this genius and report it to the Spirit Hall for proper training. She grew up in the Spirit Hall orphanage, eating their food. Of course, she'd joined the Spirit Hall. My name is Liena. Inside the six-pointed star awakening formation stood a girl with long, orange-brown hair and 2 fox ears. Her face was delicate, her lips thin, her eyebrows curved, and her clear eyes turned pink after her martial spirit manifested. They were pure, yet full of charm, capable of captivating any man. Her skin was like snow, and a fluffy pink fox tail swayed behind her, practically begging to be touched. It was clear that Liena would grow into a breathtaking beauty. And with her martial spirit, her allure would be off the charts. The awakening master nodded. Liena, a lovely name. I'll report your talent to the Spirit Hall. I'm sure a titled Douluo elder will be here to take you as a disciple soon. No need. I'll take this one. I'll be her teacher. A clear, sweet voice echoed through the hall. It was Bibi Dong. She was passing by and overheard everything. After using her mental power to observe, she saw a cute little girl awakening the Sky Fox martial soul. She was immediately struck by the idea of taking her on as a disciple. Innate level 9.7 soul power, a top-tier martial soul, and a rare spiritual system. With the right training, she could become a titled Douluo. Spiritual attribute soul masters were hard to beat at the same level, aside from a few ridiculously gifted individuals. Your Royal Highness, the Saint. The awakening master saluted as soon as he saw Bibi Dong. Bibi Dong nodded and looked at Liena, whose eyes were wide with admiration. She ruffled her hair and said with a smile, so, you're Liena? Yes, Saint. Liena was practically vibrating with excitement. The Spirit Hall orphanage had 2 legends, Bibi Dong, the twin martial soul genius with innate soul power who was now the Saint, and Qianrenhan, the Spirit Hall's young master. She never imagined she'd meet one, let alone be taken as a disciple. Bibi Dong asked, would you like to be my disciple? Yes, yes. Saint. Liena nearly jumped out of her skin. Bibi Dong nodded, pleased. If you're my disciple, you can't call me Saint. Liena caught on. Teacher. Good girl. Let's go with me. Bibi Dong took Liena's hand and headed towards the Pope's palace. Looking at Liena's adorableness, she thought of Qianxunji's neglect of Qianrenxue after the awakening of her angel martial soul. The maternal love she had long suppressed found a new outlet. As they climbed the steps to Pope Mountain, Bibi Dong said, Nana, from today on, you'll live with me. I'll use everything I know to help you become amazing. Liena was stunned. Looking at Bibi Dong's kind face, her eyes welled up. Thank you, teacher. What's wrong? Why are you crying? Did someone pick on you at the orphanage? Bibi Dong knelt to wipe away her tears. Liena shook her head, sobbing. It's not that, teacher. I suddenly thought of my mother, who died protecting me. Liena's family had been wiped out, and only she and her brother escaped. Because of their family's connections to the Spirit Hall, they were taken in by the Spirit Hall orphanage. Bibi Dong nodded, rubbing Liena's head gently. Nana, I'll protect you. I won't let anyone hurt you. Hearing those warm words, Liena smiled. Thank you, teacher. I have an older brother. He's studying at Spirit Hall Academy. His innate soul power is almost level 9. He's always protected me at the orphanage. Bibi Dong was taken aback. Another gifted genius? With the potential to become a sacrifice Douluo? She'd struck gold. Bibi Dong nodded. Nana, the Spirit Hall Academy's instructors aren't as knowledgeable as I am. After you've learned from me, I'll send you to the academy, okay? Spirit Hall Academy was outside Spirit Hall City. It was where the descendants of elders or worshippers studied. Pretty much all the Spirit Hall City's geniuses went there, except for Qianrenhan and Qianrenxue, as the Seraphim Inheritor and the Spirit Hall Saint, studied under DouluoDalu and wouldn't be sent to the academy. Bibi Dong had also studied on her own. Qianrenhan could study with Qianxunji. However, he found it a waste of time. Okay, teacher, Liena agreed. Not far from Spirit Hall Palace, on a towering mountain peak, Qianxunji stood with his hands behind his back. Next to him were two titled Douluo and a large contingent of Spirit Hall soldiers. They watched a battered figure on the ground. Tang Hao, bruised and bloodied. Spirit Hall City was near the border of the two empires, and Holy Soul Village was a small village along that border. This battlefield wasn't too far from Holy Soul Village. Tang Hao couldn't possibly outrun Qianxunji's 6 wings while carrying 2 people. He was quickly caught and defeated. Qianxunji said calmly, Tang Hao, for the sake of the Haotian sect, hand her over, and I'll let you live. Not a chance, Qianxunji. If you want to hurt her, you'll have to go through me. Tang Hao shouted, clutching his chest and struggling to his feet. Chapter 36 One Death and One Waste. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Let my husband and children go, and I'll go with you. From behind, a woman emerged from the canyon. She looked to be around 27 or 28, strikingly beautiful with long, dark blue hair, flawless skin, and a vibrant energy. She held a baby in her arms. Her face was pale, perhaps from childbirth and the long journey, but her life force was palpable. With each step she took, fresh, blue-silver grass sprouted on the war-torn land. The sight of this woman caused a stir among the Spirit Hall members. Her beauty rivaled Bibi Dong's. It was no wonder Tang Hao remained so obsessed, even knowing she was a 100,000-year-old soul beast. The 100,000-year blue-silver emperor. I've been looking for you, Qianxunji said calmly, a burning desire in his eyes. Finally, he was about to claim his 100,000-year soul ring and soul bones. Her beauty meant nothing to him. A soul beast was a soul beast. Even killed in human form, the soul ring and bones would still appear. Qianxunji knew that 100,000-year soul beasts could change their appearance at will. Even the ugliest could become stunningly beautiful. Ah-in was just grass to him, no matter how attractive. Ah-in, don't, Tang Hao's voice trembled, tears streaming down his face. He even ignored Tang San, whom Ah-in held in her arms. Ah-in smiled softly, took Tang Hao's hand, and wrote 3 words on his palm, Hao, his name. Then, a single tear fell as she walked towards Qianxunji and his followers. Her blue-silver domain expanded, and countless blue and gold vines sprung from the ground, pushing back the spirit masters from the spirit hall who surrounded Tang Hao and Tang San. Qianxunji and the others ignored Ah-Yin's actions, focused solely on the blue-silver emperor as she approached. Ah-Yin spoke, her voice cold, like a weed. My life has known hardship, weathered by the elements for years. But I've also known kindness. Pope, I am the 100,000-year-old blue-silver emperor. Do you know my greatest trait? Qianxunji and the others were taken aback, pausing to consider. Even the spirit hall lacked such knowledge. My greatest trait is immortality. No one can kill me. Even if you take me, you won't get the soul ring or bones. I'll never leave my husband, and I won't let you touch me. Her voice was resolute. An immense wave of soul power erupted from her body, and a 100,000-year soul ring appeared beneath her feet. A scarlet glow created a small magnetic field that isolated everything. Raising her hands, she transformed into a towering, 10-meter-tall blue-silver grass, shimmering with blue and gold. Qianxunji's pupils constricted, and he shouted, Sacrifice. Stop her. That the soul rings of the 2 titled Douluo and dozens of spirit masters flared as they unleashed their skills against the scarlet magnetic field. But they couldn't break through it. A 100,000-year soul beast that had survived the tribulation was essentially as strong as a level 95 titled Douluo. No spirit master of equal level could breach a field created with her life force. No. Don't sacrifice yourself. Just run. Don't sacrifice. Finally, amidst Tang Hao's anguished cries, a scarlet soul ring, pulsing with infinite life, surrounded his body. Nourished by this vitality and immense soul power, his grievous injuries healed, and his cultivation reached level 92. On his left hand, the one not holding the baby, a blue-gold light emanated from a right leg bone. A ring of blue-gold blue-silver grass surrounded the baby, then disappeared into the child's swaddling clothes. The death of a 100,000-year-old soul beast resulted in the appearance of a 100,000-year soul bone, specifically the type that the soul ring's owner was missing. During their training, Tang Hao and Tang Xiao had removed all their soul bones except the 2 inherited Haotian sect bones, leaving 4 missing soul bones. The right leg bone came from Yin's sacrifice. As for how Tang Hao had acquired the other 4 soul bones besides the 2 inherited from the Haotian sect, only Tang Hao and Tang Xiao knew the truth. Spirit Hall. Tang Hao lifted his head, his eyes burning red. He stored the soul bones, and a massive killing intent exploded from his body, coalescing into a blood-red giant. Even the title Douluo of the Spirit Hall trembled. Take Tang Hao down before he fully adapts to the 100,000-year soul ring. Qianxunji commanded, a cruel smile playing on his lips. The blue-silver emperor was gone, and he needed a reason to destroy Tang Hao and the Haotian sect. This new Haotian Douluo was also the youngest titled Douluo on the continent. Tang Hao's outburst of murderous intent gave him the perfect excuse. Spirit Hall. Tang Hao roared, his gaze locked on Qianxunji. His first and second soul rings detonated as he charged. Any spirit master who tried to stop him fell, slain by his hammer. Qianxunji frowned, unnerved by his crazed look. As Tang Hao closed in, 2 palace guard Douluo from the Pope's palace intervened, Jade Flute Douluo and Vitra Douluo, one for control, the other for defense. Qianxunji remained at the rear, maintaining the Pope's composure. He wouldn't gang up on Tang Hao with the 2 temple protector Douluo. A duel had to be one-on-one. 9th soul skill, golden body. The 9th soul ring under Vitra Douluo's feet flared, and brilliant golden light erupted from his body. He transformed into a living sun, his body plated in gold. Using his 9th soul skill, Vitra Douluo became Qianxunji's strongest shield. Get out of my way. Tang Hao roared, ignoring Vitra Douluo. 3 or 4 soul rings detonated as he poured all his energy into the clear sky hammer, which slammed into Vitra Douluo's chest. Haotian 9 perfections, imprisonment. The impact sent Vitra Douluo flying, blood vessels bursting in his eyes. He crashed into a nearby mountain peak, shattering it, coughing up blood as he sustained severe injuries. 9th soul skill, soul-suppressing magic flute. Jade Flute Douluo's 9th soul ring lit up. He closed his eyes and began to play. Known as the world's best soul control skill, the soul-suppressing magic flute was said to hypnotize anything, people, soul beasts, even waves or hurricanes. Once hypnotized, all would fall into the same trap. Chapter 37. Both sides suffer losses. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, so things were already off the rails, and Tang Hao was completely consumed by his bloodlust. He was radiating this insanely violent killing aura, so Jade Flute Douluo's flute music didn't stand a chance of getting through to him. King Kong Douluo, barely clinging to consciousness, managed to croak, "Yu Xiao, watch out." But before Yu Xiao could even react, Tang Hao, eyes blazing red, was right on top of him. 5 or 6 10,000-year soul rings detonated at Tang Hao's feet as he brought the massive clear sky hammer crashing down. One sickening crunch later, Jade Flute Douluo's head was gone, his body slammed into the ground. Dead. Being a control-type Douluo, Jade Flute Douluo wasn't exactly built like a tank, unlike Vitra Douluo. Plus, when Tang Hao hit him, the soul rings he detonated were 5 or 6 10,000-year rings. That's like dumping several times the energy of a 1,000-year ring into a single blow. Tang Hao's hammer would have pulverized any defense, let alone Jade Flute Douluo's. seeing the remains of Jade Flute Douluo and Vitra Douluo, whose chest was crushed, Qianxunji was shaking with rage. Tang Hao had just slaughtered one of the two title Douluo who had been loyal to him, and left the other crippled. Tang Hao, face like stone after killing the two title Douluo, held little Tang San in one hand and dragged the clear sky hammer behind him toward Qianxunji. The hammer, as big as a water heater, carved a deep groove in the ground as it followed him. It finally crackled with 3 soul rings, black, and red. After all these years, Angel Douluo and Haotian Douluo were facing off again. Angel Douluo Qianxunji, at the peak of level 95, was rocking a soul ring setup of 2 yellow, 2 purple, 5 black, and 2 angel god level soul bones. Haotian Douluo Tang Hao, level 92, was packing 2 yellow, 2 purple, 4 black, 1 red, and 6 soul bones. 9 soul rings blazed to life around Qianxunji, and 6 wings sprouted from his back. Thanks to the fairy grass, he was at the peak of level 95. A little more insight, and he could break through to level 96. Qianxunji's 9th soul ring flared, and the 3 pairs of wings on his angel martial soul burst into flame. He clasped his hands together, channeling all that burning power into them. The angel martial soul boasts sacred, light, and fire attributes. Typically, the soul skills can only draw on one attribute at a time based on what beasts they hunt. But Qianxunji's 9th ring came from dual attribute soul beasts, which could unleash the light and fire aspects of his angel martial soul, taking it way beyond the standard 9th soul skill. The energy radiating from Qianxunji's palm was terrifying. Smoke and dust exploded around him, and the surrounding mountains cracked and crumbled. Sensing the sheer power of the attack, Qianxunji instantly rocketed backward to create some space. Tang Hao stood his ground, unmoving. The last 3 soul rings on the clear sky hammer erupted in sequence, the sheer force of it throwing up dirt around him. He stomped forward with his right foot, leaving a small crater. The clear sky hammer ballooned in size. The handle stretched to tens of meters long, and the hammerhead grew as big as a small mountain. 9th soul skill, angelic glory. Qianxunji roared, unleashing the full force of his energy. A massive golden shock wave, wreathed in golden flames, hammered outward. The force of the blast was so strong it pushed Qianxunji backward. Big Sumeru hammer. Tang Hao bellowed, channeling every last bit of muscle power and soul energy into his left hand. He swung the clear sky hammer with everything he had toward the oncoming golden shock wave. The golden shock wave and the clear sky hammer collided in a flash, then boom. A monstrous golden black energy beam, laced with lightning, shot straight into the sky. The surrounding mountains were pulverized by the blast, and the roar of the explosion echoed for miles. The shockwave crashed into Qianxunji. His 6 wings shattered. The angel spirit's defense crumbled. His chest caved in, and he coughed up a huge gob of blood. He flew hundreds of meters, slamming into a mountainside. The papal crown tumbled from his head, and his golden hair fell into disarray, leaving him looking defeated. Tang Hao wasn't much better. The shockwave sent the clear sky hammer slamming back into his chest. His insides felt scrambled, and he was pretty sure every bone in his ribcage was broken. He spat blood, released his grip, and the clear sky hammer shrank back into a beam of light. Knocked back by the hammer, Tang Hao glared at Qianxunji, now 1,000 meters away, with bloodshot eyes. Qianxunji, if you didn't have help, you'd be nothing to me. I take responsibility for my own actions. If you want revenge, come find me, Tang Hao. With that, Tang Hao summoned the last of his strength and bolted. He had used all 9 rings and injured Qianxunji, but he was completely spent. Normally, he would have fought to the death, but he had a child to raise, a child he had with Ayin. Tang Hao. Qianxunji staggered to his feet, clutching his crushed chest, watching Tang Hao disappear in the distance, teeth clenched. He didn't want to admit that without the fairy grass, he would have lost that final exchange. Instead of a 50-50 split, he, an uncle, might have gotten beat by Tang Hao, a nephew. A wave of pain washed over him. Tang Hao's clear sky hammer wasn't like the angel martial spirit, it had no defense means. The injuries Tang Hao suffered were probably way worse. Wounds this bad might not ever heal. Douluo, the youngest title Douluo in the mainland, was as good as dead. Some of the Wuhun Palace soul masters who had been blown away by the blast stumbled over, kneeling on one knee. Your Majesty, should we pursue him? Gather up Elder Yuxiao's remains, retrieve the Vajra Douluo, and return to the spirit hall. Qianxunji shot one last look at the spot where Tang Hao had vanished, then turned and headed back toward the spirit hall. 3 days later, Qianxunji and his group returned to the Wuhun Palace, throwing the entire place into chaos. Pope Qianxunji was badly injured, Palace Protector Elder Yuxiao was dead, Elder King Kong was crippled, and they'd lost a bunch of soul masters, something this massive couldn't stay secret for long. Thanks to spies in Wuhan City, word quickly spread across the continent. P.S. The combat power is written according to the original work. Tang Hao fights against 3, 1 dies and 2 are seriously injured. This is true to the anime with Chrysanthemum Ghost Douluo, 2 levels of Forbidden Realm plus Angel Realm, and Tang Hao has a Killing God Realm. The author really doesn't know how to lose. Chapter 38 Oscar-winning actress Bibi Dong. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. On the training grounds, a soul saint rushed over, dropping to one knee. Young master. What is it? Qianrenhan asked calmly, opening his eyes. The cardinal's voice trembled as he spoke. His Holiness the Pope was severely injured while attempting to capture a 100,000-year soul beast. Elder Yuxiao died in the battle. Elder King Kong is being treated as we speak. Most of the soul masters from the Pope's palace who joined the hunt are also dead. Tang Hao successfully broke through to title Douluo and now possesses a 100,000-year soul ring, all thanks to Tang Hao. I see. That will be all. Qianrenhan waved his hand, his expression unchanged. He had anticipated this outcome. Unless Qianxunji changed his tactics and avoided a direct confrontation with Tang Hao, even if his cultivation had reached level 95, or even 96, the result would likely have been the same. He'd advised Qianxunji to bring another title Douluo, hoping it would make a difference. But Qianxunji had confidently declared that Tang Hao, along with a Contra and 3 Douluos, were like killing chickens with a sledgehammer. He told Qianrenhan to wait at home for good news and details about the 100,000-year transformed soul beast. Instead, he got himself completely wrecked. Inside the Pope's palace, Qianxunji lay in a hospital bed, pale and gaunt. The Wuhun Palace's best healing soul master stood beside him, constantly channeling therapeutic soul skills. Qianrenxue stood nearby, tears in her eyes, worry etched on her face. DouluoDalu apparently considered it too embarrassing for Qianxunji to have lost a 3-on-1 fight and didn't bother to visit. However, he stationed 2 title Douluos outside the ward, a gesture that showed his concern. After a round of treatment, Qianrenxue knelt beside Qianxunji's bed, sobbing, "Dad." Qianxunji weakly rubbed her head, forcing a smile. "Don't worry, Xiaoxue. Dad will recover in a few months. Xiaoxue, don't disturb him. He needs to rest." Qianrenhan entered the room, his gaze calm as he looked at Qianxunji in the bed. "Brother." "Xiaohan." Qianxunji looked slightly embarrassed. If he had listened to his son and brought an extra title Douluo, Tang Hao might not have escaped. There's no use dwelling on the past. Focus on healing first. We can't have 2 title Douluo elders guarding you indefinitely, delaying their own training. Qianrenhan said matter-of-factly. He then took Qianrenxue's wrist. "Let's go, Xiaoxue, time for practice." Just as they were about to leave, a purple figure entered the room. Bibi Dong. Bibi Dong was clearly surprised to see them and paused for a moment. When she saw Qianrenxue, a look of disgust crossed her beautiful face. Qianrenxue stiffened at the sight of Bibi Dong. After that slap, she'd avoided her for the past 3 years. Perhaps due to her young age and the suppression of their bloodlines, she didn't dare scoff at Bibi Dong, who was pretending to be concerned about Qianxunji. Qianrenhan simply glanced at Bibi Dong before pulling Qianrenxue away. The Pope's death was still 3 months away, which meant this was the time for Bibi Dong to build trust. With two titled Douluo standing guard, she wouldn't be able to do anything. Bibi Dong's feelings about the siblings' behavior were mixed, anger and satisfaction. Watching them leave, Bibi Dong stepped into Qianxunji's room. "Teacher, are you alright?" Bibi Dong looked at Qianxunji, pale and weak. A surge of joy and murderous intent welled up inside her. "Qianxunji is seriously injured, *9 years. I've waited 9 years for this moment. To kill Qianxunji, devour his soul, and complete the Rakshasa trial, her revenge, star." Donger. Qianxunji, who had appeared to be sleeping, opened his eyes again. "Donger, I'm sorry. I failed to capture that 100,000-year soul beast for you." "Teacher, it's all right. Your health is the most important. I know what you did to try and make it up to me." Bibi Dong said sweetly, suppressing her disgust, and took his hand. Hearing this, Qianxunji looked at Bibi Dong, stunned. Had he finally won her over? Before he could think too much, Bibi Dong gently covered him with a blanket. "Teacher, get some rest. I'll come back later." In the following days, Bibi Dong visited Qianxunji every day, bringing him soup and medicine to aid his recovery. She acted like a devoted wife, a complete turnaround. She even became slightly nicer to Qianrenxue. The two titled Douluo guards were baffled. Was she playing the long game, hoping to eventually win him over? Her impeccable performance even convinced DouluoDalu that Bibi Dong had finally accepted Qianxunji. Qianrenxue, of course, was easily fooled, but Qianrenhan chuckled to himself when he heard the news. Bibi Dong's acting was superb. No wonder she was able to kill Qianxunji in the original timeline. With the titled Douluos protecting him, she played the role of a caring wife, bringing genuinely helpful tonics. But when his condition improved and he no longer needed protection, those tonics would become deadly poison. No wonder Qianrenxue coldly mocked Bibi Dong after the failed Tiando infiltration. He, Qianxunji, is already dead, and you, Bibi Dong, also got what you wanted. Qianrenxue believed that Bibi Dong was being kind to her because of the Pope's position and was turning into a virtuous wife. She then succeeded Qianxunji as Pope and revealed her true colors. Indeed, like a spider, she struck when the opportunity presented itself. 7 days later, Bibi Dong arrived at Qianxunji's ward with a basket containing the familiar smell of medicine. "Your Highness the Saintess." The two titled Douluos bowed respectfully, convinced that Bibi Dong would soon become the Pope's wife. "Thank you for your hard work, elders. Let's do the usual check," Bibi Dong said, offering the basket to the titled Douluos to inspect. "There's no need, Your Highness." The two waved their hands. Bibi Dong's attentiveness to Qianxunji had earned their trust. Bibi Dong insisted. "It's better to be safe. The teacher's safety is paramount." Chapter 39 Licking a dog will lead to a good death. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Alright, Your Majesty. The two titled Douluo used their soul power to double-check the soup, solidifying their trust in Bibi Dong. "Donger, you're here." Qianxunji, propped up in bed, smiled, looking a little better. Though still pale, his sunken chest was no longer as prominent. "Teacher, medicine time." Bibi Dong set the basket on a nearby table, picked up the soup, and began feeding Qianxunji. Qianxunji said weakly, "Donger, I'm feeling a bit better. You don't have to feed me." Bibi Dong responded firmly, "No, teacher, you're not fully recovered yet. We'll wait until you are. Come on, teacher, open up." Bibi Dong carefully spooned the soup, holding the bowl under his chin to catch any drips. Qianxunji took a sip. "Donger," he asked, "I heard you took on a disciple." Bibi Dong nodded. "That's right. Her name is Liena. She's incredibly talented. You probably know her brother, Xiaoyu, the top student at Wuhun Academy." Qianxunji's face lit up. He paused, and then the light of a soul tool flashed, presenting the papal token to Bibi Dong. "Teacher, what are you doing?" Bibi Dong was surprised. "Donger, it'll take at least 6 months for me to recover. Someone needs to run Wuhun Palace. After this incident, Wuhun Palace has lost face. I think all those other sects are laughing at us. You're the saint of Wuhun Palace, next in line to be pope, and a genius with twin martial souls as powerful as Tang Hao. You'll serve as acting pope. I think my father will agree. Qianxunji placed the token in her hand. Don't worry, teacher, I'll keep Wuhun Palace running smoothly and uphold its reputation during this time. Bibi Dong took the token and resumed feeding him. Bibi Dong hesitated. Teacher, now is the perfect time for Nana to solidify her foundation now that her martial soul has awakened. You mean that jelly grass? The acting pope is still the pope. You have the authority to distribute that, and the girl's got enough talent to use it. Qianxunji said dismissively, then took another sip of soup. Meanwhile, in Douluo Hall, Qianrenhan braced himself and walked in. Xiaohan, why are you here? DouluoDalu frowned. Ever since his fallen angel martial soul awakened, Qianrenhan wanted to stay away from the angel statue. Old man. Qianrenhan tossed a Qianquan bag to Qianrenxue. Qianrenxue scanned it mentally, finding it full of valuable medicinal herbs to strengthen the foundation and body, and some fairy herbs too. He realized these were similar to the things Qianxunji had shown him 3 years ago, only a portion was missing. DouluoDalu looked at Qianrenhan, confused. The Wuhun Palace treasure house, including the Pope's palace and the enshrinement palace, were like home to Qianrenhan. He could grab anything he wanted, just as long as he told his parents. Of course, he couldn't report to Qianxunji. He needed to move all the herbs himself. Qianrenhan cut to the chase. Old man, do you think what you've seen lately is credible? DouluoDalu narrowed his eyes, reconsidering recent events. Bibi Dong seemed too kind to Qianxunji. It was happening too fast. Since she was treating Qianxunji gently, why not treat Qianrenxue well, just with a slightly better attitude? I haven't had that much interaction with her, so I don't trust what I see or what I hear. But I do know one thing. She acted that way before the old man captured the Blue-Silver Emperor, but she changed after coming back. If the Blue-Silver Emperor had been captured, it would be okay, but it happened that he was not captured. Qianrenhan asked with interest, Old man, let me ask you something. If you hate someone to the extreme, but that person tries to butter you up, so they take some subordinates to rob someone weaker than them of a priceless treasure, but they fail and get seriously injured, how would you feel about that person? I'd be even more disgusted and look down on them. DouluoDalu stated bluntly. He understood Qianrenhan was describing Bibi Dong and Qianxunji, and through those words, he saw through Bibi Dong's act. The life of one's son is more important than one's reputation, the answer goes without saying at all. Maybe that's not a nice way to put it, but you are basically a lapdog. When a lapdog gets certain benefits, they tend to forget everything, their IQ drops, and they'll believe anything the other person says. Please take care of these herbs. DouluoDalu nodded slightly. I understand. Qianrenhan left Douluo Hall, thinking about his next move. He wasn't putting all his eggs in DouluoDalu's basket. In DouluoDalu's heart, Wuhun Palace came before Qianxunji. If Wuhun Palace could thrive under Bibi Dong, DouluoDalu might sacrifice Qianxunji for a better future for Wuhun Palace, to eliminate Bibi Dong's hatred. Living under the concept of angel gods, DouluoDalu is a qualified leader, but his vision of seeing into people's hearts is still too poor. This old otaku who only thinks about angels and gods has no idea how complex and twisted is evil. Just thinking that forbearance and concession can make others feel grateful. In the days after Bibi Dong started caring for Qianxunji, talk of Douluo Tang Hao spread like wildfire. Everyone believed Tang Hao had defeated Qianxunji. After all, leading a group into battle only to end up with injuries on both sides isn't a defeat, it's a draw. Are you embarrassed to say it? In Nodding City, Yi Xiaoan of Nodding College burst out laughing when he heard that Tang Hao defeated Qianxunji. Ever since he was forced to kneel down and swear by Qianxunji, he had hated Qianxunji deeply. He wished he could cut Qianxunji into pieces, but it was a pity that he didn't have the strength. Yu Xiaoan closed the door and window tightly and laughed loudly. Qianxunji, Qianxunji, I didn't expect you to be like this. 3 title Douluo can't defeat a soul master who just broke through the title Douluo. Tang Hao, Haotian Douluo, you are my idol from now on. The Haotian sect was filled with joy. The elders were laughing so hard they thought they'd lose their lungs, and they celebrated with wine at every meal. Tang Lai slapped his thigh. Xiao Hao really did it. With this, the Clear Sky sect's name is really out there. Qianxunji, what's so great about an angel martial soul? Just because it's god level? It can't compare to our Clear Sky hammer. Only suitable for carrying shoes. That's right. Seraphim is a god-level martial spirit, but our Clear Sky hammer is a super god-level martial spirit. Another Clear Sky sect elder agreed. Chapter 40 Kick Hu Liena away. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The third elder voiced his concern. Do you think the spirit hall will retaliate? The old sect master's gone, and it's only been a few years since the current one became a title Douluo. Tang Xiao, in the sect leader's seat, reassured him, don't worry, third uncle. I'm confident brother Hao will handle it. As long as Qianxunji's alive, the spirit hall won't stoop to attacking our Clear Sky sect unless they're looking to embarrass themselves further. The second elder sighed, I feel terrible for Xiao Hao. He protected a soul beast and seriously injured Qianxunji. We're partly to blame. If we welcomed him back now, the spirit hall would use it as an excuse to attack, and with Tang Chen missing, we couldn't possibly defend ourselves. Even Tang Xiao had to agree, his eyes showing both pain and resentment. The pain was for Tang Hao, and the resentment was directed at Yin, knowing her sacrifice was the source of Tang Hao's 100,000-year soul ring. Yin, I swear I'll get strong enough to make the spirit hall pay for this. Tang Xiao vowed silently. Qianrenhan, the fourth elder said suddenly, causing everyone to become serious. Tang Lai scoffed, fourth brother, Qianrenhan beat Xiaohu because Xiaohu hadn't mastered all our secrets. Once Xiaohu and Xiaolong learn everything and inherit the great Sumera hammer, Qianrenhan will be nothing. Everyone nodded. They'd considered Qianrenxue a threat on par with Qianxunji during the younger generation competitions, but now that Tang Hao had crippled Qianxunji, they'd subconsciously dismissed her. 2 months passed. Qianxunji had recovered enough power to reach the Contra level. He'd likely regain his Douluo title soon, though full recovery would take longer. He refused guards. Bibi Dong had been acting pope for 2 months. She tried to get DouluoDalu to give her immortal herbs for Hu Liena, but he brushed her off with a low-grade medicinal herb. Meanwhile, Qianrenhan was practicing swordsmanship with Qianrenxue. Xiaoxue, your swordplay is too erratic. What's wrong? Qianrenhan asked calmly. He could sense her emotions through their fight. It's that little brat, you know. She's always hanging around that woman, and that woman is so nice to her, always smiling. Qianrenxue was furious, consumed by jealousy. Bibi Dong barely acknowledged her with a fake smile, but she constantly smiled at Hu Liena, even picking her up and hugging her. Qianrenxue desperately wanted that affection. Have you met her? Qianrenhan inquired. Yesterday, Qianrenxue replied. Qianrenhan frowned. Hu Liena shouldn't have met Qianrenxue so early, based on what he remembered. Was it the butterfly effect of his arrival? Or maybe it was because he'd pawned the immortal herbs off on DouluoDalu, leading to Bibi Dong visiting the temple more often, which increased the opportunities for encounters and forced her to pretend more. Putting away his sword, Qianrenhan said, You're too agitated. How can you focus on your swordsmanship? Let's go read something to calm down. Okay, Qianrenxue agreed, realizing she was too distracted to practice. The Spirit Hall Library's 7th floor differed from the vast, bookshelf-lined 6th floor. This space was smaller, about the size of a regular room, with fewer books. Mostly bamboo slips and silk manuscripts containing vital information, it held the Spirit Hall's most important knowledge, accumulated over centuries. information on legendary god-level spirit beasts like the Dark Devil God Tiger, details about the battle on Sea God Island, and even the secrets of the angel spirit's innate soul power and the angel divine armor. The information was once kept in a box on this floor but had since been moved. Security was tight. 2 contras guarded the entrance around the clock. Only those with proper authorization could enter, and trespassers would be eliminated. Qianrenhan grabbed a bamboo slip that caught his eye and leaned against a bookshelf to read. Qianrenxue found a book and began reading as well. Soon, footsteps approached, and a young girl with long orange hair entered, twirling a golden token. She stopped short when she saw Qianrenxue. Qianrenxue looked up, recognizing Liena. She frowned, jealousy flickering in her eyes. Qianrenhan, still leaning against the bookshelf, ignored the newcomer, seeing the jealousy in Qianrenxue's eyes. Liena smirked. Qianrenxue, fancy seeing you here. Liena smiled, twirling the token proudly. She didn't care who Qianrenxue was, her teacher was the Pope, even the acting one. Qianrenxue closed her book and said coldly, "What are you doing here? Someone like you shouldn't be allowed in." "What am I doing here? Didn't you see the token? The teacher gave it to me so I could look up some information." Liena raised the token for Qianrenxue to see, and the jealousy in Qianrenxue's eyes intensified. Unbeknownst to the smug Liena, Qianrenhan had quietly put down the bamboo slip. Liena put her hands on her hips and said, "Let me tell you something, Qianrenxue. Just because you're the spirit hall's young master doesn't mean I'm afraid of you. The teacher likes me best. I sleep with her every night. She says I'm talented and will surpass you someday, and then I'll be the spirit hall's saintess. You." Qianrenxue clenched her fists, wanting to hit her. She wouldn't bully a child. At that moment, footsteps approached. Liena looked away from Qianrenxue, seeing Qianrenhan walking towards them. She said excitedly, "White hair, white skin, blood-red eyes, could he be?" Before she could say Qianrenhan's name, a dusty soul filled her vision. *bang, *Liena was sent flying out of the library's 7th floor.